A, and my matrix is 01819F1059, and my fellow groupmate, which is Durga Devi Karthikeyan, metric number 01819F1078. So today we would like to present about case study based on case study on Windows Server Administration subject. Okay, let's move. So first, our question would be prepare VPN access from mobile client to headquarters so that teleworkers can access resources from external office. Okay, so to deploy the configuration, we have created a diagram to make it easier for configuration later on. So where there is a server, then another server with a VPN and direct access configuration, and also lastly another server with the employee which acts as a client. Okay, so let's see what is on server. So in the server we include IPv4 and IPv6 address, which is 192.168.10.2 and IPv6 address 2001 CB2 2021 6FB0 572B 3631 3BC9 2. This is our address. Okay, so next we have DNS, which is domain name system that acts as a main for other server to operate and turn domain name into IP address. Okay, ADDS, which is called as Active Directory Domain Service, are core function in Active Directory that manage user and computer and allow system admin to organize the data into logical hierarchies. Fourth, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, which is DHCP, is a protocol which, when configured, can receive IP address automatically from server to client based on UDP or TCP protocol. Okay. GPO is a group policy object and is a virtual collection of policy settings that can represent policy setting in the file system and in the Active Directory also. 6. Virtual Private Network. Okay. VPN allows us to create a secure connection to another network over the internet. And also lastly, direct access. Direct access known as Unified Remote Access, which is a VPN-like technology that provides intranet connectivity to client computer when they are connected to the internet. Now, at employee, server will receive automatic IP through DHCP and also will assign direct access and VPN as well. Okay, next will be our first configuration, which is DNS, domain name system. So first of all, we need to assign IPv4 address at network setting with the IP 192.168.10.2. So with the subnet mask 255.255.0 and also the default gateway as well 192.168.10.1 and preferred DNS same as the IP address and hit OK. Okay, secondly, we need to change the computer name to make it easier to remember. So I change it to Vigneswarit to my server. Then hit OK, and you need to restart the server after you have changed the computer name. Okay, third, you go to the server manager and at the tools, we need to choose for add rules and feature and select the DNS and ADDS server to be installed. Then hit the next button until the installation process. Then next, after we click the install, the rules and feature that was selected will be installed automatically. Okay, fifth, an error symbol at the flag at the server manager will come up to make sure that we deploy ADDS configuration. So we need to choose for add a new forest and give a domain name for the deploy configuration process. So as you can see here, I give the domain name of mantari.com and hit next. Then we need to give a password for domain controller. So just give a password, any password. Okay, then hit next. Then check for NetBIOS domain whether it's correct or not. It will come out default. We already did the monthly.com, so it will be default. So you just check it. For me, it come out as monthly, so it's correct. Then hit next. Then make sure the pre-request check is passed successfully and install the service. All the service are installed. So just confirm it and just click in the install again. Okay, upon install everything, we should go to the DNS manager. At the server manager, we just click on the DNS manager, and here at the DNS manager we click on the domain name, our domain name monthly.com. Then create a new host by filling name and IP version for address and add the host. Add the host inside the new created file. Then at the reverse lookup zone, here, as you can see here, reverse lookup zone at the main setting DNS manager, create a new zone and specify the network ID for IP version for address and click next. So we need to create a new zone and put on a network ID. Only the network ID is required. So hit next. Then after that we just click on next until the configuration. Then upon complete the configuration, check the setting. Here will show all the setting that we have done in the configuration just now. And after checking it, you just click on finish. Okay, next choose for the IP version of reverse lookup zone here at the inside the reverse lookup zone, and right click on it and choose for create new record for CNAME and give a IP version for address at the alias name and also the domain name that we created just now, monthly.com, and attach the www as well. So then click OK. Okay, next at the forward lookup zone, we need to create a new zone and specify the zone name and zone name. So we specify zone name as monthlyhike.com and just click next. Later on, just click next until it's installed. The rest of the thing are just the same as reverse lookup zone. And later on, upon complete the configuration, check the setting as well, whether correct or not, and just click finish if you are already checked everything. Next is at the client. After we have configured the DNS configuration at the server, we just go to the client. We should create another server for client or employee. Then test the IP address of the DNS server and the domain name as well, so that whether we can see it's connected or not. So here you can see at my command prompt, it is all connected for the ping for domain name monthly.com and also ping for IP address as well, as you can see here. Okay, done for DNS. Okay, next would be for configuration for DHCP. Okay, for DHCP, first of all, you need to go to the tools at the server manager and choose for the add roles and feature, just like DNS server, and select for DHCP server installation. Here you can see here. Then hit next. Next, you just keep on next until you see the installation button and install it. And upon install, you can see the features that you are installing here. While everything will be installed itself as a default, then upon install you can just close it. Okay, after DHCP have installed, same like DNS, an arrow symbol will be shown at the flag of server manager. So you just tick on this arrow symbol to deploy post install configuration for DHCP, as you can see here. Then for the authorization, you can choose for the first one. It will be the default mentari/administrator, just commit, give a commit, and then check for the summary status and close it. So it's all done. Okay, then open the DHCP manager at the our DNS. We go directly and open the DHCP manager and click on the IPv4. Just click on the IPv4. Then we need to create a new scope. As you can see, this is the wizard of new scope. Then just click next. Okay. After that, assign a scope name for the network. After we hit next, there will be asked for name. So give a name that I'll give Mantari Height. Then hit next. Okay. Then assign an IP address range for DHCP server. As you can see, it will ask for IP address range and start IP and IP. So just give it. My start IP would be .1 and an end IP would be .254. Which means within this range I can use any IP any IP I can use within this range. So hit next. Then after that, this one we need to add the again we need to add the start and end IP for the exclusion and delay part. Just add it and hit next. Okay, after that, then we need to add a default gateway for router so that it can pass by the connection or also the packet to the client itself. So just give the .1. I give IP for .1. Then add a least duration for how long can a client use the IP address. So for me, I want to use it for 3 days only. So I give a 3 days duration. Then hit next. Then select yes to configure selected option for the scope. We just select yes to make sure that we configure all the option that we have configured just now. Then hit next. Then check for parent domain name and IP address of the DNS server whether it's correct or not. It will be default and it will show you in default. So just click next. After that, active the scope by choosing yes. You will need to ask for activated scope. You just click on next and hit next as well. And upon completion the configuration, click to finish. You have configured the new scope for IP version 4 now. Then for IP version 6, you need to assign a static IP version 6 address as the network setting. You go into the control panel and go to the network and sharing center, and you will go to the Ethernet properties. Get into this Internet Protocol IP version 6 page. So you just use the following static IP and give any IPv6 static IPv6 with the subnet prefix 64 and also default gateway as .1 and preferred DNS server same as the IPv6 address and hit OK. Again, at the DHCP manager, at the IPv6, click on IPv6, then right click to create a new scope. As you can see, a new wizard scope will pop up, and just hit next. Then same like DHCP for IP version 4, we have to create name for IP version 6. So I just use the same name, which is Mantari Height, and I added V6 at the behind. So the same, just add any name. Then give a IPv6 prefix for this scope. I will give the IPv6 address .2 and it's like 64. Just give the IPv6 address and hit next. Okay, then add start and end IPv6 address for exclusion here. You can see a start IPv6 address. You just add and start IPv6 address till any end IPv6 address. So I just leave it blank because any IPv6 it won't end. I don't want the IPv6 address to be end, so there's no range specified. So just add any start IPv only and add it. Then adjust the scope list for client to use IPv6 address. So I want to use the IPv6 for also 3 days, same as IPv4 address. Only it will be valid for only 3 days, the IPv6 address. Then hit next. Okay, then after finishing configuration, it will come up like this. So please make sure to check the settings before click finish. Then it's done for DHCP new scope visit. Then lastly, at the client, uh, um, open the client and make sure the DHCP is enabled by giving a command ipconfig/all command. You can see there is an DHCP enabled. It will say yes, and also you can see that DNS suffix, our domain name will be there, mantri.com as well, as you can see, and also our IPv6 address that we put just now, and also the IPv4 address, as you can see here, DHCP server. So everything in this will be came up as we can as we configured just now. Everything will come up as this in the setting. So that's it.
Okay, now I like to continue further about configuring VPN. To configure VPN, first we need to go to the Add Roles and Feature wizard, and then we need to choose Remote Access. After that, must accept the selected features and hit Next. In this page, we don't need to install anything because we have already installed. And then for next, for select for routing, we should choose direct access and VPN at role service and hit next. And then for this, it's just like a role service to install web server. Just accept it and click on next. Accept service and click next. Next is confirm the installation by and click install. After several minutes, you have been successfully installed the VPN features. After that, after the installation, you will get a page like configure remote access, where you should choose deploy VPN, only the third option, and then click commit. At, at the server manager, you should go to routing and remote access. At there, you will see the local server. At the local server, click right to configure and enable routing and remote access. So the page will pop out to routing and remote access server settings. Later, choose for custom configuration and click next. Then select the service for VPN access to enable on the server. So you should select VPN access. Then you must start the service of the routing remote access service is ready to use after you complete the routing and remote access server setup wizard. So after that, you should go back to the routing and remote access, right click at the local server, and this time we go to the properties. At the properties, go to the security tab and then check box for allow custom IPsec and provide a pre-shared key, and then go to IPv4 tab, choose for static address pool and add a new IPv4 address range. After you have done everything, you should restart your local server by just right click at the local server and choose all start to restart the server, and then at the search bar type window defender firewall and click it. Then as the page appear like this, go to the advanced setting. So the advanced setting page will be like this. So you must choose inbound rules and click for new rule at right side. Select the type of firewall to create which we need to use predefined routing and remote access. So we must choose predefined routing and remote access for the new inbound rule wizard for the rule type. After choosing that, you must choose routing and remote access and then click next, which is L2TP routing and remote access L2TP. At action, you must choose allow connection, allow the connection. This include connection that are protect with IPsec as well as those are not. So after that, you must click finished. After you finish, you must go to Active Directory user and computer, add user, click new and add new user. To add new user, you must add the first name, last name, full name, and then the user login name. After that, you must create a password based on the requirement you have set up. After you have created the password, you must after create password, you have successfully add a new user. After adding new user, you must click at the user and go to the properties. At the properties, you must go to the dial in and allow access for network access permission, and then you should click. After you have done everything to the server, now you must go to the client. At client, you must go to network and internet page. At there, you must connect to a workplace at connection option, which set up a dial up or VPN connection to your workplace. Next, you must choose my internet connection, which is VPN, connecting a virtual private network connection through the internet. Then you should enter the server IP address at the internet address and the destination name, and you must click create. After you create, you must go to the VPN connection and right click it and go to the properties. At properties, go to security and choose layer 2 dialing protocol with IPsec, and then at the advanced property, you must use pre-share key for authentication, which you have set up to in the server just now. Must use the same key here. After that, you must sign in to the user ID and password to connect to a VPN. After you have used the correct user and password, your VPN is connected to the client, which it showed that your VPN is successfully configured at the server. The last configuration we're going to do is direct access. So for this, must go to a server and must go to Active Directory, right click in the domain and go to the organizational unit. At the organizational unit, you must add a new object. The name we have used, direct access client. And then now at the new group, now you need to add a new group. So at the direct access, you must right click in new, and then you must create a group. At a new group, you must create a group name, which we use DA clients. And then for a group scope is global and the group type is secretary. After that, after you created the group type, after you go to the properties of the group, and then you enter object name and select the object name which you created. So at the object name, you just put in your object and then a check name, it will show you. After you check, you can go to the members to check whether it has been configured or not. Then go to the remote access dashboard, configure VPN. So you must click configure VPN, and then at the configure VPN, you will go to the direct access client setup, where you must add a security group. You must select one or more security group containing clients component that will be enabled for direct access, and then you must choose behind the edge device with a single network adapter, and then you must click next. Next is infrastructure server setup, which is DNS suffix search list. The domain name serves to use which domain name you want to use. So we have used mantari.com. And then next is GPO configuration, the direct access client GPO. GPO containing direct access client setting, which is Mantari we use. So the direct access client setting, this is the one. And then next, after all of this is configured, now you can click finish. After you finish, you will in the apply and getting start wizard setting dialog box, will verify that your configuration was successful. So after you can click close, and then can look the remote access setup, configure remote access. So this is how we set up. You can see after you set up, you can do this to your client computer that will be enabled for direct access. So to the direct access, to test direct access, we have go to the clients window, and then we have join domain in the window security of the client, which is client 1. The domain is mantari.com. After you have joined domain, you should get after you restart, you should get a message like this: welcome to mantari.com domain, where you have joined your server domain to your client. So now you can test the direct access in the client using gp result /r command. So this is the command we use in the client. So you can check here. Or else you can use ipconfig command in client to check whether it have successfully configured or not. And then lastly, you can also use your IP to ping IP address of the server to ping and the domain name, where you can see it's all successful. Okay, now at question 2, they have asked us implement solution that will improve the bandwidth usage for employees computer in KL branch so that all the application file can be accessed smoothly with no delay at the same time, improve the traffic. So for that, first you must reconfigure network hardware. Why? Because whenever you install or update a device onto your network, your company needs to ensure that if configure the device correctly. Otherwise, the device won't be able to properly communicate with each other, which can be a routing issue or increased latency. Next is focus on problem metrics. The specific performance problem that affect your business network will very depend on how your network is built and the tasks you need your network to perform. To that end, that there are certain performance metrics your company will want to focus on to improve network performance. Third is ensure quality of service, which is QoS is working. Quality of service ensure that high performance application and server have enough resource to operate properly. Your network should reserve bandwidth for critical business application for when they need them. So third is like they ask us to explain security features implement in your deployment. So security feature we have implement in our deployment is group policy. Is a feature of Windows that facilitates a wide variety of advanced settings that network administrator can use to control the working environment of user and computer account in Active Directory. And next is we have used Windows Defender Firewall service, which help us to protect our computer by preventing unauthorized user from gaining access to the system through the internet or other network.